older men carry a kind of confidence that does not need to shout. It is not the loud bravado of proving themselves, but the quiet assurance of someone who knows who he is. This self-possession drives younger women crazy because it creates an aura of stability and magnetism. Confidence rooted in self-assurance, not performance, is one of the most magnetic qualities an older man can carry because it speaks to a lifetime of lived experience that has softened the need to prove himself and replaced it with a quiet certainty. Younger women often find themselves drawn to this because it feels fundamentally different from the kind of bravado or restless energy that can sometimes define younger men. Self-assurance has a texture. It is steady, calm, and grounded. It does not waver when challenged. It does not demand attention. It invites it. And that invitation is irresistible because it makes her feel she is with someone who knows himself deeply and therefore can meet her without pretense. True self-assurance is not about arrogance or domination. It is about a man being at ease in his own skin, comfortable with his strengths and accepting of his flaws. A younger woman senses this immediately. She notices that he does not rush to impress her with stories or exaggerations. He does not need to fill the silence with noise. He does not chase approval, because his sense of worth comes from within, and this internal anchor gives her a rare feeling of safety. She does not feel pressured to perform for him either, because his calm confidence sets the tone of authenticity in their interaction. Confidence rooted in self-assurance is also alluring because it carries restraint rather than urgency. An older man knows that attraction is not about force, but about presence. He understands that subtlety often holds more power than display, and this measured energy can be intoxicating to a younger woman who is used to being pursued with intensity, but rarely with depth. When he chooses his words carefully, when he makes eye contact without flinching, when he smiles without needing validation, she feels disarmed in the best possible way, because she knows she is not dealing with someone seeking conquest, but with someone who values connection. Another reason this kind of confidence drives younger women crazy is because it feels earned rather than borrowed. Self-assurance is built over years. Mistakes, successes, losses, and growth. It cannot be faked for long because it is not about external markers of success, but about internal reconciliation. A younger woman may not be able to articulate this, but she feels it. She senses that his calm does not come from inexperience, but from a history that has shaped him into someone who no longer needs to prove himself. This depth creates intrigue. She wonders what he has lived through, what lessons he has learned, what stories lie behind his quiet strength, and that curiosity fuels attraction. Self-assurance also communicates freedom, because a man who is confident in himself is not enslaved by the opinions of others. He does not bend himself to fit in. He does not adjust his truth for temporary approval, and this independence can be intoxicating. Younger women often feel drawn to the man who stands alone comfortably, because his independence gives her permission to be freer too. She senses that he will not lose himself in her, nor demand that she lose herself in him. Instead, his confidence creates space for her individuality to flourish, and that balance is both rare and deeply appealing. This type of confidence is further amplified by the way it influences his body language. He does not fidget, he does not rush his movements, he takes his time, he speaks with pauses that invite her to lean in, he carries himself with posture that reflects inner alignment, his gestures are measured, and his presence fills the room without effort. This non-verbal expression of self-assurance communicates more than words ever could. It makes her feel that he belongs wherever he is, and by extension it makes her feel that she belongs in his presence. Two younger women also find themselves stirred by the way self-assurance creates contrast. He does not compete with them for attention. He does not seek to outshine. He simply is, and that ease becomes magnetic because it contrasts with the noise of a world full of performance. When she is around him, she feels a slowing down, a settling, a centering, as if his calm draws her out of her own anxieties and into a space where she can simply be, and in that space attraction deepens because it is tied not only to desire but to relief. Confidence rooted in self-assurance also shows in the way he handles rejection or challenge. Rather than reacting defensively, he remains composed rather than clinging to her. interest he gives her freedom rather than fearing loss he trusts himself, and this kind of trust creates desire because it shows he is not fragile, he is not breakable, his worth is not contingent on her response, and paradoxically this freedom makes her want to lean in more because she senses that he does not need her to complete him, he chooses her, and choice is far more seductive than need. Ultimately, younger women are driven crazy by this kind of confidence because it represents a form of masculinity that is both strong and safe. Strong because it is unshaken, safe because it is not aggressive or demanding. It allows her to feel the thrill of attraction without the burden of fear. It allows her to explore intimacy without the weight of expectation. His self-assurance gives her permission to desire freely, to express herself openly, to feel cherished without conditions. And this combination is rare because it cannot be manufactured, it can only be lived. This is why confidence rooted in self-assurance, not performance, stands apart. It is not the noise of someone trying to prove, it is the silence of someone who already knows, and in that silence she feels her own desires awakened, her curiosity sparked, and her attraction intensified. It is the kind of confidence that does not chase but draws in, that does not shout but whispers, and in that whisper she finds herself captivated because she realizes she is in the presence of a man who is not only attractive but deeply compelling because he is complete within himself. Deep attentive listening that makes her feel seen is one of the most powerful ways an older man can captivate a younger woman, because it touches something that is rare and often missing in her experience. The act of listening sounds simple, yet in truth very few people practice it. Most conversations in her world may be filled with interruptions, distractions, or shallow exchanges. So when she encounters a man who listens with patience, with curiosity, and with presence, it feels extraordinary. It makes her feel not only heard but truly understood, and this sense of being understood is one of the most intoxicating experiences she can have because it affirms her existence in a way that words alone cannot. Attentive listening begins with presence. When an older man sets aside his phone, does not let his gaze wander, and shows her with his body language that she has his full attention, she feels a kind of safety and importance that drives her deeper into the moment. It is not just about nodding at the right times or waiting for his turn to speak. It is about leaning into her words as if they matter, as if they reveal not only information but pieces of her inner world. A younger woman recognizes immediately when someone is listening to reply versus listening to understand, and when she finds herself with someone who truly understands, it creates a magnetic pull. The allure of deep listening is that it communicates value without performance. When she speaks about her dreams, her frustrations, or even the small details of her day, and he responds with thoughtful silence or a question that shows he has followed her train of thought, she feels her significance in his eyes. She senses that her voice has weight, and that weight makes her feel alive. This is different from flattery or empty compliments because listening is not about saying something to please her, it is about receiving what she says in a way that honors it. And this sincerity is what makes it irresistible. Younger women are often navigating a world that prizes speed, image, and constant competition, so to be with a man who slows down enough to hear her is a form of intimacy in itself. Listening becomes foreplay because it creates emotional arousal. It makes her feel desired not only for her body, but for her mind, her stories, her essence. It tells her that what she has to say is worth the time, attention of someone who has lived enough life to know how precious attention really is, and this kind of affirmation makes her open more of herself to him because she feels safe to be vulnerable. Another layer of deep attentive listening is that it allows him to notice what is unsaid. Sometimes what matters most is not the words themselves, but the pauses between them, the shift in tone, the glance away, or the hesitation. And when he catches these subtleties and responds with sensitivity, she feels profoundly seen. She experiences him not just as a man who hears her, but as one who understands her. inner life in ways others do not. This sense of being seen beneath the surface is intoxicating because it suggests depth and wisdom. It tells her she is in the presence of someone who can hold more than superficiality. Listening also builds trust because it shows patience rather than rush. An older man who takes the time to let her finish her thoughts without interruption sends the message that she does not need to fight for space. She does not need to compete for attention. He is there with her, and he will wait. This patience communicates confidence because only a man who is secure within himself can give that kind of space, and security is magnetic because it makes her feel safe to let down her guard and reveal parts of herself that she may not show to anyone else. There is also a sensual quality to listening because it creates intimacy without touch. When he looks into her eyes as she speaks, when he leans closer not to invade but to understand, when he responds with a softness that matches her emotion, she feels connected to him in ways that often surpass physical attraction. It awakens her body because her heart and mind feel engaged, and when the heart and mind are engaged, the body follows with ease. Many women describe that what excites them most is not grand gestures, but small moments of being truly seen and heard, and deep listening creates exactly that. Attentive listening also disrupts the dynamic she might be used to with younger men who may seek to impress more than to understand. Instead of dominating the conversation with his own stories, he turns the spotlight gently toward her, and this reversal makes her feel both surprised and delighted because it is rare. She feels cherished rather than competed with, respected rather than dismissed, and this dynamic creates a tension that heightens attraction. She realizes she is not just another audience member to his self-display, but the center of a dialogue that matters. What makes listening so powerful is that it stays with her long after the moment has ended. She will remember the man who made her feel heard because it is such an uncommon gift. She may forget the exact words spoken, but she will not forget the feeling of his attention lingering on her like a warm embrace. It becomes a memory. She returns to a memory that drives her to want more time with him because she craves the rare experience of being seen and valued so completely. Ultimately, deep attentive listening drives younger women crazy, not because it is a trick or strategy, but because it touches something human, something universal, the need to be witnessed, the need to feel that one's inner world matters. And when an older man brings the maturity, patience, and the presence to offer that gift, he sets himself apart from the noise of her world. He becomes not just a man she desires physically, but a man who stirs her soul, because he listens in a way that makes her feel visible, significant, and unforgettable. And this is the kind of attraction that lingers far beyond the first encounter. Emotional stability that creates safety and intrigue is one of the most defining characteristics that makes an older man irresistible to a younger woman, because it sets him apart from the chaos and volatility she may often encounter. Emotional stability is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It is about balance. It is about being able to hold space for intensity without being consumed by it. It is about being able to respond instead of react. And this steadiness becomes magnetic because it gives her a sense of safety that is rare. Yet it also carries an edge of intrigue, because calmness in a storm hints at a depth of experience and strength she longs to explore. When a man is emotionally stable, he radiates a presence that says, "I can handle myself, and I can handle you." This is not said with arrogance, but with a kind of quiet reassurance that makes her body relax around him. It is deeply attractive because she senses that she will not be judged for her emotions nor abandoned when she expresses them. Instead, she feels that she can bring her full self to the connection because he will remain grounded. He will not lash out. He will not crumble. He will not disappear. This creates trust, and trust is the foundation upon which desire grows. Emotional stability is also alluring because it communicates maturity. It shows that he has lived through challenges, heartbreak, losses, and triumphs, and that he has integrated those experiences rather than letting them define him. Younger women feel the weight of this maturity, and it fascinates them because it contrasts with the volatility they may experience in relationships with men their own age. She sees in him someone who has weathered storms and come out not bitter, but wise, not hardened but strong, and this paradox of strength with softness is intoxicating. Safety is one half of the magnetism, but intrigue is the other, because emotional stability does not mean predictability. It means reliability with depth. He is not bland or flat. He carries an aura of someone who knows himself, and this self-knowledge makes her curious. She wonders what he has lived through, what insights he holds, what secrets lie beneath his calm surface. The steadiness becomes a doorway into mystery, because she senses that behind the composure lies passion waiting to be unlocked. And this combination of control and intensity is one of the most powerful drivers of attraction. Younger women are drawn to men who can handle intensity without being destabilized, because it allows them to lean into their own desires without fear. If she cries, he does not retreat. If she becomes angry, he does not escalate. If she feels vulnerable, he does not take advantage. His presence becomes a container strong enough to hold whatever arises, and this creates a freedom she rarely experiences. She feels safe enough to explore herself more fully, and that exploration often translates into deeper intimacy. Because safety is the soil in which desire blooms, another element of emotional stability that captivates her is the way it expresses itself in conflict. Rather than avoiding disagreements or exploding with defensiveness, he approaches them with calm curiosity. He listens, he reflects, he seeks resolution instead of victory. This makes her feel respected and valued, and at the same time it excites her because it shows her he is capable of depth. He is not afraid of complexity. He is not frightened by discomfort. He can stand in the fire without losing himself, and that steadiness becomes a beacon of attraction. Intrigue arises because emotional stability often carries restraint, and restraint is powerful when he does not react impulsively, when he waits, when he measures his response. She feels a sense of unpredictability that heightens tension. She cannot read him too easily. He does not spill every thought. He does not need to prove himself with loud displays. Instead, he reveals himself slowly, carefully, and deliberately, and this pace makes her crave more because it builds anticipation. His stability creates a rhythm that feels both calming and exciting, a paradox that she cannot resist. Emotional stability is also sensual in the way it shows up in intimacy. A man who is stable is not driven by insecurity or fear of inadequacy. He is able to be present. He is able to slow down. He is able to create an atmosphere where her pleasure is as important as his own. This patience becomes a form of seduction because it tells her he is not rushed, he is not desperate, he is confident enough to savor the experience, and this savoring allows her to relax into deeper arousal. His steadiness gives her permission to fully surrender because she knows she will be held rather than abandoned. What makes this quality unforgettable is that it lingers long after the moment ends. She remembers the way he held himself when tension arose. She remembers the calm in his eyes when she confessed something vulnerable. She remembers how he steadied the space when her emotions ran high, and those memories drive her desire to return because they give her a sense of being anchored in a world that often feels unstable. This anchoring does not diminish excitement, but enhances it because the intrigue lies in how his calmness coexists with the fire of his desire. Ultimately, emotional stability that creates safety and intrigue is the quality that allows an older man to stand apart. It is not about perfection. It is not about suppressing emotion. It is about mastering the balance between strength and softness, control and openness, steadiness and mystery. It creates attraction because it allows her to feel both secure and alive, both protected and curious. It gives her a foundation on which to rest and a horizon toward which to lean. It is the quiet magnetism of a man who knows himself. And because he knows himself, he can hold space for her to know herself more fully. And in that space, she feels not only desire but liberation. Life experience that brings wisdom and perspective is one of the deepest qualities that makes an older man irresistible because it is something that cannot be fabricated or rushed. It is the accumulation of years lived, challenges faced, mistakes made, and lessons learned. And when a younger woman encounters a man who carries this depth, she feels a fascination that goes beyond physical attraction. Life experience gives him a kind of richness that she craves because it adds layers to his presence. She senses that he has seen enough of life to understand its beauty and its pain, and that understanding makes him someone she can both learn from and feel safe with wisdom. is not simply knowledge, it is knowledge that has been tested against reality. A younger woman feels this when an older man speaks not to impress, but to share insights born of lived truths. He does not need to exaggerate because the power of his words lies in their authenticity. When he offers advice, it comes not from theory, but from memory. When he tells a story, it carries the weight of having been there, and she leans into that because she can feel the difference between someone who talks about life. Someone who has lived it. His perspective becomes alluring because it offers her a window into experiences she has not yet had, and it invites her to imagine what her own journey might one day hold. This life experience also shapes the way he approaches relationships. He understands that attraction is not only about chemistry, but about connection, about trust, about patience, and this makes him more deliberate in his actions. Instead of rushing, he takes his time. Instead of seeking validation, he offers presence. Instead of fearing vulnerability, he embraces it, and this balance draws her in because it contrasts with the uncertainty she might feel with younger men. She feels that with him there is depth and stability, but also a playfulness that comes from knowing how fleeting moments can be. His wisdom makes him value intimacy in a way that feels rare and precious to her. Perspective is another piece of this magnetism because it changes the way he views conflict, challenges, and setbacks. When difficulties arise, he does not panic. He does not overreact. He has lived enough to know that storms pass, and this calm perspective is intoxicating because it gives her a sense of security. She sees in him someone who does not fall apart at the first sign of trouble, someone who can hold space for complexity and still remain centered. This steadiness becomes a source of attraction because it allows her to relax her guard. She feels she can lean into him without fear of collapse, and that trust deepens her desire. Life experience also gives him the ability to appreciate the present in ways that younger men may not. He has lived through enough to know that time is fleeting, that opportunities come and go, and that joy is something to be savored, not postponed. This awareness makes him more attentive in moments with her. He listens more fully, he touches with more intention, he laughs with more freedom. Because he knows the value of these moments, she feels this presence, and it awakens something in her. It tells her that she is not just a fleeting encounter, but a moment he chooses to savor fully, and that choice makes her feel cherished. Another reason life experience is so alluring is because it carries stories of travel, of love, of failure, of triumph. And these stories become a kind of seduction, not because they are performed, but because they reveal layers of who he is. Each story a glimpse into his character, each memory a testament to the life he has lived. She listens not only to the words, but to the way he tells them, the pauses, the laughter, the reflection, and she finds herself drawn into his world. This storytelling becomes a form of intimacy because it connects her to his history and makes her imagine what stories they might one day create together. Perspective also shapes the way he sees her. He does not reduce her to her appearance. He sees beyond her beauty into her potential, her complexity, her individuality, because his wisdom has taught him that attraction is deeper than surface. This kind of seeing is rare, and it makes her feel profoundly valued. When he compliments her, it is not just about how she looks, but about how she moves, how she thinks, how she feels, and this depth of recognition makes her fall into his presence because it is not shallow admiration but genuine appreciation. Life experience also gives him a kind of patience that heightens desire. He does not rush toward conclusions. He does not push her into decisions. He allows things to unfold because he understands that what is real cannot be forced. This patience creates a slow burn, a building tension that drives her crazy because it makes the moments of intimacy more charged, more meaningful, more alive. His perspective allows him to savor the build-up rather than only seeking the destination, and she feels this difference in the way he touches, the way he speaks, the way he moves around her. It becomes a form of seduction born from wisdom. Ultimately, life experience that brings wisdom and perspective is magnetic because it blends stability with depth, safety with intrigue, knowledge with humility. It makes him someone she not only desires but also respects, someone who awakens Her curiosity and her trust at the same time. His wisdom does not make him rigid, it makes him expansive. His perspective does not close doors, it opens them. And in his presence she feels both grounded and inspired, both safe and excited. It is the paradox of a man who has lived fully and yet remains open to more, and it is this paradox that drives her desire, because it tells her that with him life is not only secure but endlessly rich. Patience and presence that heighten desire are qualities that carry a profound magnetism, because they reflect a man's ability to be fully in the moment without rushing, without forcing, without seeking to jump ahead. Patience communicates confidence. It says, I do not need to hurry because I know what I bring has value. Presence communicates attentiveness. It says, I am here with you and nowhere else. And when combined, they create a space where attraction grows naturally instead of being pressured. Younger women often find themselves driven crazy by this energy because it feels so different from what they may be used to in a world that moves quickly and rewards instant gratification. The man who knows how to slow down and be present becomes unforgettable. Patience is powerful because it allows tension to build. Desire is not only about the physical act, but about anticipation. The moments that precede touch, the silences between words, the looks that linger longer than expected. When a man does not rush into intimacy, but instead lets the energy build, gradually she feels both excitement and relief. Excitement, because the build-up heightens her arousal, and relief, because she feels she is not being pressured, but invited. This creates a dynamic where she is free to lean in at her own pace, and that freedom is intoxicating because it makes her feel desired rather than demanded. Presence is equally magnetic because it signals that she is the center of his attention. He is not distracted by his phone, by his thoughts, by the noise around him. He is attuned to her, the way she speaks, the way she moves, the subtle shifts in her expression. And when she feels this level of attention, it awakens her body and mind. She feels cherished in a way that makes her desire deepen. Presence tells her she matters. And that validation creates a powerful emotional connection, which in turn fuels physical attraction. When a man is truly present, she feels herself seen. And when she feels seen, she opens up more fully. The combination of patience and presence is especially alluring because it creates rhythm rather than rushing through moments. He allows them to unfold. He is attentive to her responses. He notices when she leans closer, when she pulls back, when she lingers in silence, and he mirrors that energy instead of forcing his own agenda. This responsiveness makes her feel safe and desired. At the same time, it tells her that he is attuned not only to his own wants, but to hers, and this balance is rare. It makes her crave him more, because she senses that he is invested not only in the outcome, but in the experience itself. Younger women often find this quality so compelling, because it contrasts sharply with experiences where intimacy felt hurried or transactional. Patience and presence communicate that he values depth over speed, that he is more interested in savoring than conquering, and this shift in energy allows her to access a different level of desire, one that is rooted not in fear of being used, but in joy of being cherished. His ability to slow down becomes a form of seduction. His presence becomes an unspoken promise that he will not abandon her once the moment passes, and this security allows her to surrender to desire more completely. Patience also carries an erotic charge because it builds mystery. When he does not reveal everything at once, when he allows moments to stretch, when he holds back just enough to let her wonder, it creates an intensity that is far more powerful than immediate gratification. She begins to anticipate, she imagines what comes next, she craves his next move, because it is not given too quickly. The delay makes the reward sweeter. The space between action becomes as meaningful as the action itself, and she finds herself thinking about him long after the moment, because he left her wanting more. Presence deepens this mystery by grounding her in the now. When he looks at her with steady eyes, when he touches her with intention, when he listens without distraction, she feels the weight of the moment. She feels her body respond not just to what is happening, but to the energy that surrounds it. Presence amplifies everything. It makes silence louder, touch more electric, eye contact more intimate. It transforms ordinary interactions into charged experiences, and this heightened awareness drives her desire because it makes every second feel deliberate, meaningful, unforgettable. Patience and presence also create emotional intimacy, which is the foundation of lasting desire. He does not rush to get somewhere. He allows feelings to unfold. He does not seek to control her pace. He adapts to it. This respect fosters trust, and trust allows her to let go of defenses. When she feels that she can relax into his presence without pressure, she surrenders more deeply, and that surrender heightens both emotional and physical pleasure. His patience tells her that he values not just the destination, but the journey. His presence tells her that she is worth his time and attention, and together these messages create a dynamic that is both erotic and tender. Another reason these qualities heighten desire is because they reflect mastery. Patience is not passivity, it is strength. Presence is not silence, it is focus. When a man shows he can control his impulses, when he can give her his full attention, it communicates that he is not led by desperation, but by choice, and choice is incredibly seductive. It shows her that he is deliberate, that he is intentional, and that he chooses her fully in that moment. This deliberate energy makes her feel treasured, and this feeling ignites her passion because it tells her she is not just an option, she is the center of his world. Ultimately, patience and presence that heighten desire are about creating an atmosphere where attraction is allowed to breathe. They are about honoring the slow build of intimacy and savoring the richness of connection. They transform desire from something rushed into something expansive, something memorable. They make her feel safe enough to surrender and excited enough to crave more. It is this paradox of safety and thrill that drives her wild, because she feels both secure and alive in his presence, and that feeling is not easily forgotten. Patience is the slow burn, presence is the spark. Together they create the fire that keeps her wanting more long after the moment has passed.